Hey Niger Tribe, welcome to this video. This is a part 2 based on what we did before about what is vaginal steaming, because there's so much confusion and so many questions out there. I thought I would just take the time to explore what has worked for me, what I have done in my own personal practice, what I've done in my clinic with other clients, and you all seem to really love it because there's 45,000 of you that watched it and gave lots and lots of comments, and lots of questions. So hence we have a part 2. So if this is your first time encountering me, hi, welcome. My name is Yoni, the Niger Goddess. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, a board certified holistic nutritionist, a certified herbalist, and a chef with over 20 years, and I specialize in culinary medicine field. If you don't know what that is, there's other videos to support that on the channel that you can check out. So I just wanted to give you that background because something that's been happening for millennia is not necessarily always backed up by science, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work. So the science sometimes has to catch up to what we've known that's worked for thousands of years, in this case, like vaginal steaming. So I'm going to teach you what I've learned from my mentors throughout the years, and what I've done as a personal practice, what I've recommended to clients where they've gotten really good results, and we're going to hop right on into it. So just as a quick recap, let's just reframe what is vaginal steaming or yoni steaming, because if you look at here on the internet, it'll have you thinking it's just a vaginal facial for a lack of a better term. That's how they're perceived, but it's so much more than that. Pelvic floor steaming has roots back from African cultures, Asian cultures. It's been done for thousands of years. And over those thousands of years, it's done for just general wellness, postpartum care, and connection. So vaginal steaming is not about a detox, because our vaginas are already self-cleaning, so it's not what it's for. It's just simply an application of warmth and botanicals to those sensitive tissues. So the real art of this traditional practice comes in the actual specific herbs. Now, before we get into it, before you start any new practice, please consult your healthcare team before you do anything. In my last video, I talked about if you have piercings and all other things, if it's safe for you to do, but always consult your healthcare team before that. This is strictly for educational purposes, okay? So I just want to make sure I put that out there before I go into the specifics of what worked for me and what I've seen work in my clinic. So based on that, with the art form of herbalism, we're going to focus on the top 3 things that you all asked about, which are fibroids, cysts, and vaginal dryness. So let's start with fibroids. Fibroids are something that has to do with estrogen dominance in the body. So it's something you have to do internally, externally, and emotionally. I've spoken a lot about in my other videos about a lot of women who have fibroids. I think like more than 90% of them have had some type of emotional trauma, and most women, our wombs are repositories for that. So addressing the root cause of what has really caused us a lot of emotional pain will really help to get to the root of the fibroids popping up in the first place. That, coupled with all the external factors, because our world is so toxic, all those xenoestrogens out there, which are 1,000 times stronger than our own natural human estrogens, it is super important that we are constantly detoxifying our body because of the environments we live in. And then you can also take it a step further with having safe cookware and drinkware. So drinking out of glass, not plastic, especially in the summertime, okay? Drink out of glass. Make sure you're cooking in ceramic or cast iron or using glass vessels. Do not use those Teflon coated, forever chemical coated pots and pans. Those are very disruptive to your endocrine system, hence having more estrogen dominance, and hence the problems like PCOS and fibroids and all the things that seem to happen to us. Okay, so that is absolutely critical. And switching to a more plant-forward diet, being high in fiber, will really help with eliminating any excesses in the body, particularly excess estrogens or excess cholesterol, excess testosterone, whatever your body needs to regulate. Increasing your fiber really helps with that. So you can watch a lot of my other videos in terms of our nutrition protocols, and go to my website for lots of recipes, or click the scan below for the meal planner that you can get lots of great, delicious, chef-tested recipes by yours truly. Now, regarding the actual steaming, what are some really good herbs? And wherever we put as a steam, we can also consume as a tea on a regular basis, which I did. So the first herb which I love is red raspberry leaf. Now, most of the time you hear people drinking it as a tea while they're pregnant to help with reducing blood during delivery, which it does do that. And I have seen the difference as a doula. I have seen the difference in clients who have had red raspberry leaf tea and those who haven't, and it was a marked difference. It truly was a marked difference. But that is one of the blends that I use for fibroids, the red raspberry leaf. It's one of the most respected uterine tonics out there. It's very well accepted. It's not a lot of contraindications concerning that. And it helps to tone the muscles of your uterus. So the second herb I use for my fibroid blend is motherwort. It's such a great herb. It's also used for heart as well. But anytime a woman has said that her period feels her leaving drained or just not like herself, motherwort is the herb I use, again, as a tea and as a steam. We're just taking it from all sides. So motherwort is the second herb in combination that I use. So red raspberry leaf and motherwort. And then lastly is ginger root. So not necessarily the dried spice in your cabinet in your kitchen, though you could use it. I actually get like cut and sifted ginger root and use that in a decoction that I use for vaginal steaming and in a tea. So ginger's been used across all traditional medicines for thousands of years as well. And it helps to support circulation and ease comfort. So that's the trifecta there for the fibroid blend, the red raspberry leaf, the motherwort, and the ginger. In addition to that, I would consume about 4 drops of frankincense, of pure frankincense oil daily. And my fibroids left on their own. I had multiple fibroids. They couldn't even count them all. And they told me I was going to have a hysterectomy, and not just a myomectomy, but to have a full hysterectomy. And following this protocol, plus coupling a fully plant-based diet that was high in fiber, all the fibroids were gone. There was nothing to eliminate via surgery because they were all gone. So this worked for me. I'm not going to say that's going to 100% work for you, but anytime you're using something natural or doing a natural thing, the main thing that must be encoded is that you must be consistent, okay? Those didn't grow overnight, so you can't expect an overnight miracle. We've been conditioned in today's society to just take a pill for this and we kind of feel the effects pretty quickly, but that is artificial symptom suppression, which creates a symptom to pop up. So when you're going the natural route, healing cycles are like in 90-day cycles, at minimum of 28-day cycles, but 90-day cycles for the new cells and everything to replenish. So you want to give yourself time. So you have to be consistent. So I did this consistently, and the fibroids just poof went away on their own. I have video from being in the clinic where they show I had fibroids, and I went back and they're like, I thought you had fibroids, and looked at my chart. I'm like, you all said I did, but now they're gone. And this is all I did. I changed my diet, I increased my hydration, I started moving my body, and I did this practice of vaginal steaming. I always did it after my period, like right after my period, and I put the frankincense drops in water. I drank that every day, and the fibroids went away. So hopefully that answers your question about fibroids. So we've covered fibroids. So now let's get into cysts. Now cysts have their own types of worry. Now certain cysts are there for the long haul, which shouldn't be there, but we develop cysts every month if you're a menstruating woman. It is a natural thing. So we want to make sure we're talking about the cysts are the kind that we don't want hanging around. So your doctor will tell you what type of cysts you're having. It depends on what stage of your menstrual cycle you are and what stage of life that you're in. But the first herb that I use in the cyst removal blend is dandelion root. Dandelion root is so good for so many things. It's very mineral rich, which is why I love it. It's something you can consume internally and through steam, and it helps with detoxification. That's what it does. When you're drinking dandelion root, it helps eliminate any excesses and toxins through the liver. So I love dandelion root for that. So that is the top herb in the cyst removal blend. Next is chaste tree berry or vitex. This has been used for so long for hormonal balance, because when you have cysts, your hormones are not balanced. You're typically estrogen dominant, which I just spoke on earlier. And when you incorporate Vitex, it helps your body find its balance again. Now, I've been one of those people that when I consume Vitex orally via capsules or tea, it really throws me off. I've never been able to find the balance, but it seemed to only work best for me through vaginal steaming. I could see the difference through vaginal steaming, but when I would consume it orally, it just didn't seem to work out. I still play with it every now and then, but every time I had to go with what I'm seeing. And after going on it for about 3 months, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling worse. I'm thrown off, and I adjust the doses lower or higher. It just wasn't working for me orally, but through steaming, it seemed to be my best fit. That's what worked for me. Again, talk to your healthcare team and talk to your herbalist and your team before you make any decision. I'm just telling you what worked for me and what I've seen work in my clinic. Okay, so we talked about dandelion root, and then we talked about vitex or chaste tree berry. The third herb that rounds this out is yarrow. I love yarrow for so many things. Yarrow is amazing. It's really good, and it's traditionally used for pelvic floor circulation. So that is so good, and it helps in cyst-related discomfort. So adding that in helps with any kind of uncomfortable feeling or dis-ease that you're feeling when you have cysts. So that's the trifecta there. So we have dandelion root, vitex, and yarrow. That is the cyst removal blend. Now you're probably going to ask me in what proportions. You can do it evenly, or if you do your own research or talk to people in your team, you can add more of the herb that does the thing that needs to work for you. It's not prescriptive in that way, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a steam. You can start with doing this 3 equal parts, and then you can increase more or less of what your intuition tells you that you want to try. Okay. And so that leads us to vaginal dryness or perimenopausal into menopausal symptoms. When things are shrinking, when moisture is losing because estrogen is going down. So here are some things you can use. So we want to use those herbs that have that natural mucilaginous properties to them. So the first one that I use in that blend is marshmallow root. Yes, it is the queen of the demulcent herbs. Okay, I love marshmallow root. And this is great that you can drink this alongside your steaming session and things will be flowing. Okay, things will be flowing. You want to make sure you're also staying very hydrated. So if you're in a season where things are not as flowing as you would like for it to be, make sure that you are hydrated properly. Okay, everyone should be consuming 80 to 100 fluid ounces of fluid daily. Okay, most people are just super dehydrated. It shows up in your skin and your hair, your nails. Drinking 30-40 fluid ounces a day does not cut it if you're an adult person. Okay, so make sure you're properly hydrated and drink some marshmallow tea while you steam, and you will see and feel the difference. Trust me on that one. The second herb I like to use for vaginal dryness is calendula, which is a beautiful flower, and it's very soothing. You might know it as marigold. That's how you might see it like in a nursery as marigold, but calendula in the herbalist world, it's a staple for skincare. It's very gentle, and it's very good for delicate tissue. So I like that as a nice support and calming herb, because there's all the formulations have a reason there. So comfort is always in one of those reasons, if you haven't noticed from the other 2 issues that we discussed. And then the third herb is chamomile. Chamomile is an herb that helps to calm, particularly your nervous system. It's a calming herb, and you can drink a tea of this before bed. It helps with a more deep, relaxing, peaceful sleep, help you sleep through the night. And I love that combination. So when you have the marshmallow root, was doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this formulation, and you support it with the chamomile and you support it with the calendula, and you hydrate your body, you will feel the difference. So those are the key herbs in the formulations that addresses the issues that you all ask the most about, which are fibroids, cysts, and vaginal dryness. Okay, so if you have any other questions that I did not touch on, let me know. So as I kind of touched on throughout this, everything you do as a steam, you can also do as a tea, and you could do them at the same time. So whatever your formulation is for your steam, you can do it as a decoction for your tea while you're sitting doing your ritual of your vaginal steam or your quarterly vaginal steam, whenever you choose to do it. So select your herbs, prepare the tea, prepare the steam. I'll put clips in from the last video so you can see how that worked. Heat the water, steep everything, and then when you go to sit and do your actual Yoni steam, sip on your tea, read a book, listen to an audio book, or you could be reading the Nourished by Nigel book, links below, to learn how to properly food prep for your lifestyle and for your health goals. So this is all the things you want to do it's a great self-care ritual. It's a self-love ritual. It's something you want to do consistently. And as I mentioned in the previous video, if you have a lot of indurated material there, if you have stuff that's been there for a long time, you will see it come out. It won't come out necessarily like right then. It'll be a couple days later or on your next at the start of your next menstrual cycle. It can look like coffee grains. It could be like really dark or brown. That's stuff that's been in there for a while that's hardened and is coming out. Don't be alarmed. That's a good thing. It just, the steam helps to loosen things up. And when I first started steaming, that happened to me quite often when I was still kind of sick and all the things I was going through. You can watch that in another video. So don't be alarmed. That is to be expected. You all asked me several times in the comments as well if you can steam with an IUD. This is a conversation you always have with your gynecologist first. I did steaming when I had my IUD years ago. It's based on how you and your body are handling that IUD. If your IUD, like the first one I had, was very fussy and was trying to eject itself all the time, maybe don't do it. If you feel comfortable, you haven't had any problems with it, and you feel comfortable proceeding, give it a try. It's not like having the steam is going to force it to come out, so that should not be a concern you have. But again, before you make any changes to your healthcare routine, consult your healthcare team, okay? But I would say in general, it should be okay. There's nothing pulling the string or pulling at your IUD or anything that's going to add bacteria or anything like that to it. So I think in most cases it should be okay. But again, consult your healthcare practitioner. The other question I received a lot in the comment section is, can I steam after a hysterectomy, be it partial or full? And so the short answer is yes, because some people just like to do it because it's a very relaxing ritual to do. It's a self-care ritual to do. It's very soothing. It helps connect you with your inner self. So from that perspective, absolutely, you can absolutely do it. It's not about healing scar tissue or anything like that. It's just about a relaxing ritual to do. There's definitely no harm that will come from it. So I hope that answers your question there. Then the other question I received is, can I do this postpartum? Absolutely. Okay, it's actually, that's one of its primary uses that have been used for thousands of years, is postpartum care. It's very traditional, but the timing matters. So make sure your bleeding has fully stopped before you do a steaming practice. Okay, so that's the only contingency. Make sure your bleeding has fully stopped before you do a steaming. But absolutely, postpartum, yes, steam. The question is, when should I not steam? If you think you're pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or are in your fertile window, you do not steam during that time. Okay, that is not the time to steam. If you're on your period or you have fresh bleeding, that is not the time to steam. And if you have an active infection, or if you have HIV or anything like that, or burning and itching, that's not the time to steam. Okay, so those things are off limits. If you have any open wounds or sores, that is not the time to steam. So those, just to recap, if you have any active infections or HIV, no steaming. And if you have any open wounds or scars, no steaming. Okay, those are not the times to do it. What kind of changes can you expect after steaming, especially if you've never done it before? Is your period going to be heavier? Some report heavier bleeding the next time. Some report lighter bleeding, but having discharge that is like coffee grounds, like I mentioned earlier. Any significant change in your flow is worth mentioning to your doctor that takes care of your pelvic floor health. Don't just assume it's part of the process if you have a significant change. But if you have a mild change, or you have discharge like I've described, that part is normal. If there's any significant changes, make sure you consult your healthcare team. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions that you all had in the comments. If this has garnered new questions for you all, please leave those in the comments below, and I will do a part 3. If you're interested in having the steaming blends that I have created, then you can click the link below and order those yourself. You can order my book, Nourished by Nigel, so you can know how to feed your body internally, so you can address things from the inside out and the outside in, and have a holistic approach to your health and healing. Just remember, vaginal steaming is not a cure-all. It is a self-care ritual. Okay, it's a self-care tradition rooted in tradition. It offers you the chance to connect with yourself, to take time for yourself, which a lot of us busy women who wear multiple hats, we struggle doing that sometimes. And you're applying warmth to your body using plants, the botanical kingdom that we have. It's just a great feeling. It's a great thing to do because it makes you take time for yourself, and you'll feel the difference. Okay, so you can call it woo or what, but try it, give it a chance. Remember to sip and steam. I look forward to seeing you guys' comments and watching the video. Be sure to like and share this with somebody you think needs to hear it, and be sure to leave a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. And until next time, guys, heal naturally, live vibrantly.